This is Jaguar Wright's unfiltered reaction to 50 Cent's documentary. A bold, no-holds-barred response where she challenges the narrative, questions the motives behind the project, and delivers her perspective with raw intensity, making it clear she isn't impressed and isn't backing down from speaking her truth.
It was done too well. It left out too many things.
So can you speak on Curtis Jackson? 50 Cent said that this is the first one.
I'm sure.
There's hundreds of hours of more footage.
I'm sure. There was hundreds of hours of that was confiscated from all of Diddy's homes in that HSI raid that never made it to the trial. I wonder where it made it to.
The real reason Jaguar Wright turned down participation in the Netflix documentary is even more explosive than expected, and it connects directly to Gene Deal, the insider who claims he knew every truth certain people wanted buried, yet was also missing from the project. As both he and Jaguar now reveal, they deliberately stayed away after sensing what Gene describes as a calculated setup. Those sources confirm that conversations are underway with 50 Cent about a potential return in Season 2. And we're breaking down every detail, starting with why Gene chose to walk away before stepping into what he believed was a carefully disguised trap.
Not in the thing, the lady was talking greasy to me. She had no right to talk greasy to me. And then she told me that 50 didn't have the power to do anything, but they using his name to push the whole documentary. And that's what it was about.
Let's rewind to the very beginning. About a month after Diddy's arrest in September 2024, 50 Cent and Netflix revealed they were teaming up on a documentary promising never-before-seen footage and a deep dive aimed at dismantling the false narratives surrounding Diddy, with 50 Cent aggressively promoting the project and stating in multiple interviews that he hadn't just started digging, but had been gathering receipts, documentation, and proof for years, positioning the documentary as a long-planned expose rather than a reaction to breaking news.
In particular, Netflix docuseries that you've been working on, Diddy Do It.
Right.
You've been saying for years that you feel you knew Diddy's character.
Right.
Yet you said you weren't a part of that lifestyle, you weren't going to the parties. So what makes you so absolutely sure that these kinds of allegations that we've seen against him are true?
Well, I'm surprised by the allegations, as surprised as everyone else is. I didn't make the allegations. I didn't tell people to say these things. It comes out, I see it in the news like everyone else. But I did feel uncomfortable with the way you would present the idea of going to these projects.
To come party with me.
Yeah. And then that swayed me away from it. Just that alone.
So you didn't realize
as much stuff was coming. Like when I seen today, it was allegations of 3 men that said he drugged them and it's a long time, to be honest with you. Like when people don't remember being violated for 20 years.
At that point, 50 Cent clearly understood that the strongest source of information was Gene Deal, a man who had been around Diddy for decades and claimed to possess extensive proof, photos, first-hand accounts, and recorded material to support his statements, which is exactly why 50 had been spotlighting Gene for years by reposting his clips on Instagram, openly signaling his interest, and eventually reaching out directly in an effort to personally persuade Gene to take part in the documentary.
I want to know why you wasn't in it, man.
Well, first and foremost, I thought I was going to be in the documentary at first until I started talking to that director. I think her name is Stapleton. I don't know her name. I don't know, man. Me and 50 talked like 45 minutes. The producers had been calling me and everything. So this one night, 50 called me up and, they got him on the phone. Me and him was just talking. We was talking about old time down with Black Hands, sit down with, with Puff Kids, the whole Puff situation, and this documentary that he's going to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So I told him that I was going to, have Kirk and Tim. Kirk would be the one who talk about the business part of it. Tim would be the one who talk about the growing up phase with Diddy and everything and over there working in the record industry with him and stuff like that. They was like family. And I was gonna talk about, the street stuff, what was going on with Bad Boy, with the security, with Wolf, with the City College, with You know, the time that I knew about when I was with him up until about early 2004, something like that. But basically the streets and then the traveling with him and the atmosphere and everything. And then go back into the Notorious Big stuff with the Tupac and the whole 9 yards, all the stuff that I knew, you know what I'm saying? So we was talking and he sounded like, yo, listen here, they gonna spare no expense with this whole documentary. So I said, all right, cool.
50 Cent was reportedly willing to meet any price Gene Deal asked, fully aware that Gene's credibility and long history made his voice impossible to ignore. So Gene prepared everything he had and even reached out to Kirk Burroughs and other industry figures who claimed they'd been wronged, determined to make sure the project had real substance. But once he spoke directly with the producer, the situation shifted. Gene says that's when he realized something was off, believing 50 was being misled. And that Netflix was mainly leveraging his image to hype the documentary series rather than genuinely committing to revealing the full truth.
And then she was calling me like I was lying. I was like, yo, who do you think you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And she was talking about, you know, there's no way nobody paid. Nobody what? I say, first of all you people come with these documentaries and stuff, the first thing you tell me, y'all tell these people out here that y'all don't pay, and y'all pay. You give, if you can make a picture look like $10,000, $15,000, you know what I'm saying? You can sit here and tell me that you're gonna pay me for my time sitting right down here with y'all. You understand? So then, you know, one thing led to another, and I was like, yeah, all right, well then, you know, F you, you know, I spoke to 50, and then she said 50, and this is exact words that came out her mouth. 50 does not determine what goes in and go out of this documentary. And he definitely don't pay. He determine what somebody get paid. It's not his documentary like that. I was like, oh, so if it's not his documentary and I spoke to him like that, I don't need to be doing nothing with you because I'm doing this on the strength of him. But you gonna pay me if I do it. So it went back and forth, you know what I'm saying, for a little bit, and then they had Kirk Burroughs giving me calls and everything like that. What are you calling me for? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Get out of here. I know what kind of dude you is anyway. Me and you cool and everything, Kirk, but don't call me about no business with this stuff like that. And then what I found out is that he was making a deal, cutting a deal for himself as well as Tim.
It was never about money. It was about standing behind 50 Cent and reinforcing the claims with real credibility. But the moment Gene Deal became convinced the documentary had shifted into a profit-driven play for Netflix, he walked away, believing the deeper truths were being sidelined once again, while the people who mattered most were left unheard. And that realization is exactly why 50 Cent has now pivoted toward a second season plan for YouTube, signaling a clear break from Netflix and making it known that he no longer trusts the platform to handle the story with the honesty and weight it deserves.
New interview by 50 that went viral where he revealed that he still got unreleased footage.
I seen the interview about he said that he had a lot of footage had to be down. The documentary had to be downsized. You understand? I don't really believe that because a documentary is a documentary, and they could have had 45 minutes. They could have had an hour. You know, to each one of those. You understand? They left out certain things. He said they even left out the one about Sarah Chapman. You understand? And for whatever reason, he probably left out a lot of other different stars too. You know, situations that they could have spoke about. You understand? I have a problem with the documentary, you know, and I'm just gonna let you know that the reason I have a problem with the documentary is that they know that they took my idea. You understand? They know that when I came to them, I laid out what they should do and how the documentary should be. You understand? She could say whatever she want to say. I talked to those producers before I even talked to her. They wanted to know what I had, what I was bringing, my pictures, all that stuff like that. And I told them about me, Tim, and Kirk.
Gene makes it clear that his respect for 50 Cent comes from the belief that 50 doesn't twist facts or play mind games, but moves with honesty and purpose, driven by exposing reality rather than controlling a narrative. And that view was echoed by Freddie P. the insider who first brought attention to the involvement of Diddy's sons, who defended 50 after speaking directly with both the producers and 50 himself. Ultimately realizing that among everyone attached to the project, 50 was the only one genuinely focused on accountability and making sure the voices of those affected were not pushed aside.
But what Fifth was doing was, he wasn't budging. I give him credit for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey man, it wasn't even about the money. It was basically a response from his team, basically like, listen, we doing this on the strength of, we want people to get their story out. We want people who really was affected by him to tell their story. We don't want to base this on money. If we base this on money, then you kind of salt down, you know what. So a lot of people, when you see them telling their stories on that DVD, that's why I give the authentication of it is so, he made sure that you was only here to, if you want to tell it, tell it. I ain't trying to put nothing in your pocket. I ain't trying to incite you or coerce you to tell nothing against this man that didn't happen. If you gonna tell it, tell it. If you got something to say and you really want the world to hear it, say it. I'm not gonna pay you extra to do it. And I gave him respect for that. And basically, they were basically like, man, this not money motivated. You know, we're not moving numbers around just so people can.
As for Jaguar Wright, she didn't hold back at all. She believes the documentary is packed with false narratives, which is exactly why she refused to take part from the start, convinced that major industry power players would never allow content that could expose or damage their own circles. And after finally watching the finished project, she says every concern she had was validated, pointing out that influential associates she expected to be addressed were completely absent, with no serious mention of powerful figures she believes should have been questioned, reinforcing her view that the documentary carefully avoided names that could make the industry uncomfortable.
It isn't over. I agree. Like, that's the thing. The story's not even being told. Because in order to tell the actual whole story, you would have to include everyone that is involved. But no, this is about saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Saving the industry and blaming it all on Diddy. Okay, Diddy's going to jail. He's going to do his time. I don't know what that appeal is looking like right now. Because see, the one thing that all of this documentary shit is doing is definitely fucking up his possibility for an appeal to get out early. Especially with the judge and them and the appeal board having to look at the footage of him sitting there with Mark Agnifilo, pretty much working on how to fix the trial.
And for him to be watching the feds watching him.
Yeah, filming. Filming the feds. Watch.
Filming.
At this stage, the narrative paints Diddy as a convenient fall guy for a much larger system, with the wider industry shifting all the blame onto him, while quietly distancing itself from any accountability. Yet the documentary avoided that angle entirely and failed to confront the most critical issue of all. If authorities were examining organized wrongdoing, then where were the other involved parties? And why was there no serious effort to question who else may have played a role behind the scenes?
Did what they needed to do in this documentary. The whole objective of this documentary was to blame it all on Diddy. The devil made me do it. Blame it all on Diddy. And the rest of the industry is nothing like this. Like when Curtis Jackson sat there in his interview with Robin and sat there and said, I did this because I don't want people thinking that the hip hop community is okay with this kind of behavior. I don't want them thinking that, we're just going to be silent while all of this is going on. Like, we're okay with this kind of behavior. And my thing is huh? So now you speaking for all of hip hop, and all of hip hop is uncomfortable with this. Meanwhile, you got people like Ja Rule who, on the low key, allegedly, Gene Deal has exposed for having his own nude tryst freak-offs.
Jaguar argues that if the full roster of people connected to Diddy were ever revealed, It would shake the entertainment world to its core, questioning how one individual could allegedly harm so many people over such a long period without anyone nearby noticing or intervening, and challenging the idea that this all happened in isolation. Because expecting the public to believe that someone operating at that level acted completely alone ignores the reality of how power, silence, and protection networks often work behind the scenes.
The complete and utter truth comes out. 3 things happen. The entertainment industry collapses completely. Millions, possibly billions of advertising dollars don't get made. People go broke. Companies go under. That's why they hate me. Not because I'm telling the truth on people. Because I'm telling the truth about the system. And I'm showing people the reality that the only thing that matters is that dollar. These entities, these companies, they don't care about none of these people. They don't care about none of these victims. They don't care about the perpetrators. They don't care about the prey. Shit, half the time, they're encouraging the predator. They don't care. It's all about the money.
Another major red flag is the claim that Netflix knew about leaked footage just 1 month after Diddy's arrest, because the timeline simply doesn't add up, making the entire story feel riddled with gaps, especially when the documentary's biggest selling point was supposedly exclusive, unreleased material that Netflix promoted heavily. Yet according to those close to the situation, when the project was first announced, Netflix didn't even have access to that footage at all, raising serious questions about how the narrative was constructed and what was really being used to sell the series.
He was going to be doing the documentary December 2023 with Netflix. And the star footage that you use to get people to re-upload or resubscribe to Netflix to make this the #1 in their TV shows division for almost 2 weeks straight. Beating out Stranger Things. How much stranger is that?
I'm not Beckham.
This footage didn't even exist when you said you were going to be doing this documentary. So we've got a videographer, a rogue videographer that has this very, very, very explosive, very explosive footage of him literally sitting on camera, planning how to go after survivors, how to poison the jury pool, how to fix his trial in advance before he's even arrested. I mean, is anybody not forgetting when Mark Agnifilo was sitting there talking to the sons in the hallway, and they're sitting there filming, and he's sitting up there. Yeah, well, see, what we got to do is we got to go and we got to put countersuits on all of these people. We have to create lawsuits ourselves. He's sitting there talking about creating lawsuits to affect public perception. He's talking about that with the kid.
At the core of it all, 50 Cent, Gene Deal, and Jaguar Wright are portrayed as being driven by one goal only: putting the truth on the table, something they believe Netflix had no real interest in pursuing, and despite the pressure and backlash that came with it, 50 pushed forward anyway, only to face intense criticism from industry insiders who accuse him of betrayal and attempt to discredit his intentions, with claims circulating that he's now facing serious pushback, as powerful figures allegedly worked behind the scenes to damage his public image and undermine his credibility for daring to challenge a system that prefers silence over accountability.
Tell 50 Cent, man, I hope you're walking on a straight arrow, man, because they waiting to see you fall. They want to see you fall so bad, brother. I'm talking about, man, I'll be in the comments and I'll be just reading it like, oh, 50 got his day comment. Like, why y'all niggas so upset about a pedophile? Like, it's stuff that y'all niggas don't. It's so many people, right, that's victims of Puffy that can't speak, that's sitting back like, shut the you know what I'm saying? Like, they basically saying, you don't even know half of it. If I was to come and say my story, not me personally, but I'm saying, I've heard that 2 or 3 times. If I tell my story, but nah, I'm not trying to clout chase, I'm not trying to be a part of this, a part of that. And I'm like, hey, man.
Gene Deal echoed that same message, reinforcing the idea that the pushback wasn't accidental but deliberate, and making it clear that anyone who challenges the industry's preferred silence is quickly targeted, discredited, and pressured for refusing to fall in line.
Baby mama started following each other on IG an hour ago. Prepare for the worst. Jay-Z, Ja Rule, Roc Nation, Desiree Perez are out to get him out of the paint. Alert. Listen here. Everybody that it says, and Desiree Perez, all them people got dirt under them, bro. You understand? They got all them people got dirt on their fingernails. Jay-Z got dirt in his fingernails. You understand? Jay-Z was messing with young girls from our block. Tiring them. I'm putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm picking a side. Desiree, husband, was a former drug dealer that she turned on a whole cartel. All of them got dirt on them. And 50 got they dirt. You understand? 50 gonna know they dirt. Because 50 got investigators, he got people that's in the street. So if they go at him, listen here, I deem him like myself, 10 times the normal man. He gonna do what he gotta do. And the whole thing about it is they trying to retaliate on him for something he did to somebody else. I feel that it's something worth seeing. It's something worth coming around, because all that shit about to fall. All that shit that we seen in the industry, these demons want to have and turn little boys into little girls into little boys. That's just about to go out the window.
Sean, Diddy, Combs' sons Justin and Christian are now teasing a new family-focused docuseries, appearing in a trailer shared on December 28th to Instagram by the founder of Zeus Network, where the two are shown seated in a private screening room as headlines about their father flash across the screen, ending with Justin answering a collect call from Fort Dix Federal Correctional Institution, where Combs is currently incarcerated. Though no official release date has been announced and the teaser only points to a projected 2026 debut, while the series highlights Combs' children from different relationships, Justin with Misa Hilton, Christian with the late Kim Porter, along with Quincy, Chance, twins Delilah and Jesse, and his youngest daughter Love, and follows Combs' transfer to Fort Dix in late October after being sentenced to 50 months in federal prison on related convictions.
Has a new Diddy documentary coming out, and this time it is coming from the perspective of Diddy and his sons. All the time I thought we were about to leave Diddy in 2025. Well, this documentary is coming in 2026. And a lot of people, just like myself, are already not feeling this new documentary coming from Diddy's sons. A lot of people aren't happy about it and actually shocked that the owner of Zeus Network, Lemmy, is doing this Diddy documentary. But what a lot of people fail to forget is Lemmy and Diddy have been friends for quite some time.
Of his children arriving in court for day one of their father's trial in New York, hands gripped in solidarity.
Do you still believe your dad's innocent? How did you feel hearing that testimony yesterday? You apologize on behalf of your father. Do you believe your father's innocent? Do you feel proud of your father's innocent? Your dad was up for years! Your dad was up for years for abusing women! That's wrong! You can have more!
The family, the foes, the joy, the pain, our voice, the loyalty, the betrayal, the lie, the love, the hate, the truth, the lies. And Diddy calling from Fort Dix.
This is a prepaid collect call from Federal Correctional Institution, Fort Dix.
When they released this trailer last night, there were so many comments to Lemmy and Zeus Network that they did not want to see this. A lot of people feel like this whole new documentary is just a PR narrative once again being pushed by Diddy and his sons to try to clean up his image. And after hearing certain things on 50 Cent's Netflix documentary, we have to go back in time and remember what we were seeing during trial. Even when it came to Diddy's sons, Christian and Justin Combs, they both came on 2 separate occasions to trial wearing a Free Sean Combs shirt. The first one to do this was Christian Combs during Jane's testimony, and you're not supposed to wear this stuff in front of a jury to try to sway their opinions. And the judge actually told him he had to leave and take it off. And then literally like a week later, Justin did the same exact thing. It was taken out of the courtroom by the judge. And we already saw the videos in the Netflix doc of Diddy talking to Justin saying he needed to push out certain content to control a narrative. During the trial, there were a lot of things going on that I could see that to me felt like it was just straight PR. Do you remember all of these people that were wearing the Free Diddy shirts? And it was actually a meme coin that's on their shirt. It's money sign.
Gene Deal says he saw this coming from the very start, and even predicted the angle this new documentary push would take, warning that instead of focusing on real accountability, it would shift into a calculated effort to go after 50 Cent directly, dragging his personal life into the spotlight and weaponizing anything they can find to damage his image, with Diddy's children now positioned as part of that strategy, using media narratives and selective storytelling to redirect attention away from deeper questions and turn the pressure onto the one person who refused to stay silent.
They're going to try to get his baby mama stories. You know, they're going to try to get 50 baby mama stories. They're going to try to get girls that he probably dated, that he had problems and issues with and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to do the same thing they probably did to R. Kelly or Puff or whatever like that, and people tell their stories. You understand? But, you know, they trying to retaliate on what he did. Let him go ahead, bruh. Because I think he ready for it. You don't do this, and you don't do the stuff that he did or sign on to the stuff that he did with Puff. Unless you got your shit in order. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. Don't throw no stone if you live in a glass house. I believe 50 ready for it. If they come at him any kind of...
Season 2 isn't chasing views or corporate validation. It's about reconnecting the dots that were intentionally erased, calling out the names that stayed unspoken, exposing the links that were brushed aside, and pressing into the questions others refused to confront. So now the floor is open to you. Do you believe Diddy acted on his own, or is the industry still shielding someone far more powerful behind the scenes?